Hey everybody, Shane Presley here, Rock Paper Podcast. Thank you so much for checking out another brand new episode. Today's features my new friends, Miles of Wire. Had a whole lot of fun hanging out with these guys, talking about some of the band history and their big reunion show coming up this weekend. And we even do some live jamming on some acoustic guitar. So it was a lot of fun. Hope you dig it. Do want to remind you, as always, Rock Paper Podcast is brought to you by Roughneck Beard Company and American Rambler, located right here in St. Louis, Missouri, over in the Maplewood area. Stop by the shop or shop 24/7 at roughneckbeardcompany.com. Use my code RPP15 for an exclusive 15% off your purchase, including all your favorite beard oils, your beard balms, junk powder, or combs, or any of their other wonderful grooming products over there. And you know, during the hot summer months, it may be tempting to shave, but did you know that having a beard can keep you cooler in the summer heat? Beards provide protection from UV rays and keep sweat off your face to keep you cooler longer in the hottest heat. Just make sure to keep your beard clean with Roughneck's house-made Beard Bar. All-natural soap with milled oats and African black soap. Cleanses amazingly without stripping away your natural oils. And if you do decide to shave it off, do it with American Rambler's amazing pre-shave oils and Miracle Tonic Aftershave. Either way, they've got you covered. Again, shop 24/7 at roughneckbeardcompany.com. And they ship worldwide, so check it all out wherever you're at. You can pick up some wonderful grooming products from Roughneck Beard Company. Also, super excited to have a brand new show sponsor for you all, and that is my buddy Keith Brake Photography and his KBP Studios over in DeCoin, Illinois. Keith has been working real hard around St. Louis for a long time, taking pictures, doing a lot of live concert photography, but recently opened up his own studio at over in DeCoin, like I said. So KeithBrakePhotography.com today, and you can get yourself booked a session over there. You can come in with all sorts of ideas, whatever you got. I just was in there myself and had a great time hanging with Keith. Snapped some really great pictures that I'm super excited about. So if you need some photos done for yourself, for the band, whatever it might be, reach out to Keith Brake Photography and KBP Studios today. You can use my, drop my name, mention Rock Paper Podcast during your booking, and you can save 10% off your purchase. So that's a great deal, and I'm really glad that Keith is a part of the show now. So get out there and support local business, everybody. Also, if you'd like to continue to support the show, a great way to do so is hit up the merch store. Check out buyjack.com/rockpaperpodcast and grab a little Shaney t-shirt, tank top, hat, all kinds of goodies up there, all kinds of different colors and sizes, whatever you need. So again, thank you to everybody that's already purchased those. Really means the world to me. So thank you, everybody. If you need me, you can find me at rockpaperpodcast.com. You can hit me up on the socials. Feel free to email me at rockpaperpodcast@gmail.com. I would love to hear from you all. And with all that out of the way, sit back, relax, and enjoy this brand new episode with Miles of Wire.
Podcast is kind of like it's like a radio show that's not on the radio. It's on the internet. Does that make sense? Uh-huh. Yeah. That's also like my mom. It makes it sound more confusing, doesn't it? It sounds like this.
This is Adam from Miles of Wire.
This is Raphael from Miles of Wire.
And you're listening to
Rock Paper Podcast.
Rock Paper Podcast.
This is beat paper, paper covers rock. Rock beats is the Shane covers non-stop. Never know what new kind of guest that he's got coming at you. Live and direct on the spot. Could be rock, folk, country, or hip-hop, jazz. All kind of folks that he has. Could be an artist or a comedian to make you laugh on the
Rock Paper Podcast.
double-decker fudge round, rolling round town. Shane coming Coming at you live and direct from ground zero. He's your hero, he's your bestie. Rock Paper Podcast with Shane Presley.
Rock Paper Podcast.
Sweet Mary likes our country sound. On Tuesday night she comes around. She gets high with the boys in the band. She'll break your heart again and again. She says to me, you're always so damn drunk again. You should take me for a ride. You are always so damn drunk again. You ain't ever satisfied. Always hiding from me. You hide from me. You hide from me. You hide from me. No one knows where she's from or where she goes. She gets in free to all our shows. Standing in the back with a tonic engine. She'll break your heart and then she'll do it again. She says to me, you're always so damn drunk again. You should take me for a ride. You are always so damn drunk again. You ain't ever satisfied. You're always hiding from me. You hide from me. You hide from me. You hide from me.
Hey everybody, Shane Presley here, Rock Paper Podcast, coming to you from St. Louis, Missouri. Hanging out today with the guys of Miles of Wire. Welcome to the show, guys.
Thanks, Shane. Thanks for having us.
Yeah,
Thanks, Shane.
Absolutely. Yeah, man. I'm I have anybody that's been following this show they've probably heard me say it a bunch, which I don't mind because I'm glad it continues to happen, but I love doing this show and continuing to discover great new music, even if it's just new to me. But like, it's a great way for me to continually to expand and like learning all kinds of new music and stuff. And so that's definitely the case today because like this is our first time getting to meet, and I've just
recently learned of the band, and I took a deep dive through the catalog that's out there available and stuff. So I'm real looking forward to this. Like, it was cool to kind of, even though you guys have been around for a bit, but it's still all new to me. So it's cool to even discover something a couple years later. So
Yeah. Right on. Yeah. It's kind of new to us again. It's been a while since we've done it.
Yeah, exactly.
yeah. Well, let's. You guys want to properly introduce yourselves for everybody?
I'm Adam Anglin, drummer in Miles of Wire.
And I'm Raphael Maurice. I'm the singer and guitarist in Miles Wire.
Nice.
And we're missing today Randall Lackmeyer, the bass player, and Sean T. Bell, lead guitar.
Yeah, man. And that's I was wondering, like, because obviously, like, I've seen it promoted, the lineup and everything, and that you guys have been around for a while, and that, so I kind of wanted to go through some of the evolution of this project, and like how things got going, and because I couldn't find a lot of information, so that was part of the fun of these two. Is like I kind of like to get it right from the source, and instead of deep trying to find any other websites out there with the information and stuff. But so has it always been the original four of you, or was there some couple of different lineup changes throughout the years, or?
Well, how far back do you want to go?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, let's start
pretty
the beginning, I guess. Yeah.
Well, a dear friend of mine, and I'd say ours, Larry Mollard, was our first drummer. And we started playing up at Sean Bell, the guitarist's loft in downtown St. Louis, and just kind of started messing around a little bit. Drums, Sean on bass, and me on vocals and guitar. And kind of started just playing a little bit, not taking it that seriously. And then you ran into Adam when I moved back out here. After a while, I was actually just living in my parents' basement. I was a young kid, and it's kind of a transformation. I'm remembering as best I can. But,
I remember I ran into Ray down at the riverfront, and we had gone to high school together, and I hadn't seen him in a while. He had gone off to college. I'd gone off and done my thing, and ran into him. We were down there, and he had a guitar, and in high school he played violin, so this was new to me that he was playing guitar. And he played me a few songs, and I was pretty blown away, especially not having seen him in a long time. And he played violin last time I saw him, and played me some tunes and told me about this band that he was in. And I went and saw the band at Off Broadway.
Nice.
And it was a great show, and had a great time. And then, in my recollection, like a little bit later, Larry stepped out of the band, and they had some shows booked, and then Ray was like, "Hey man, do you want to come drum for these shows?" And he knew me, and he knew I'd like been in a few bands previously, and I was pretty burnt out at the time, and I didn't really want to do it, but I really did dig the tunes, and I was like, "Well, yeah, I'll just do these shows, and that'll be it." And and then I did the shows, and then the next thing I know, and there was another show, and I did that show, and then we did another show, and then the next thing I know, my drums are in a loft on Washington Avenue in St. Louis, and we're recording a album, very DIY album, and we were like, hey, let's not do anything that we can't do live, the three of us.
Yeah.
But Sean, as great as a bass player is really the guitar player, and so he, as guitar players can do, like put a few tracks of guitar on there, and I was like, well, we can't do that. Can't play shows like that anymore without those extra guitar tracks. So I suggested, let's get Randall Eichmeyer, because he was a guy that I played with and was real tight with.
Yeah.
And so I brought Randall in, and then we became the band that we are right now.
Nice, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's cool that you mentioned Off Broadway, because that's always one of my favorite spots to hit in town, for sure.
Yeah.
It's a wonderful,
great place.
Yeah, beautiful room over there, great sound, and many great shows over there. And
right.
so, special place in my heart for sure.
Yeah.
So I like that you said DIY and not something that you can be able to replicate live and all this, because like that's like the first thing I'm listening to the recordings that you guys have out there, and that's what exactly what came to mind was like, I love the simplicity of it. I love like, I like it all. Like I like big, screaming guitar solos and everything else too. But like, it's just nice to hear. There wasn't like super over, done. It was just great songs, and that's all you need was so. That's what I was really immediately drawn to that, and that this is right up my alley. This is my taste and stuff. So It was cool to get deep diving through these, and I'm like, man, there's some really good stuff in here. But I liked like, I don't know, I couldn't really put if I had to like say what it was, it's kind of hard to really pin down like what you guys do. I know I've seen the term like alt country tagged to
alt country, Americana.
I mean, it's a little like I'm not really good at that anyway. I like if good music's good music, whatever, don't matter what you do. But that was like, because like it felt like there was also like some distorted guitars and stuff like that. Like there's a lot of like kind of rock stuff coming through there too. So like
to us it's always been just like it's rock and roll,
right?
Yeah, with a little bit of everything mixed in. We all have a lot of different influences, a lot of the same ones, but we all definitely grew up with a lot of different influences too. Like I grew up, my dad's a theater director, and so I grew up listening to show tunes and doing all that and playing in his shows and doing that aspect, which you wouldn't think is an influence on you, but it does have an influence on you later on down the road when you're playing in a band and you're thinking of it in like a pit orchestra kind of way rather than just a regular rock and roll way. So you bring all those things that you've learned into what you're doing. And it's just all rock and roll to me.
Yeah.
And as Adam mentioned, I came up a violinist. Like I was a Suzuki, the Suzuki method, classically trained violinist. And I think I started messing around with the guitar a little bit when I was in grade school. And then later in college, really started trying to play in my dorm room.
We were actually in a band in high school.
That's right.
And I played bass and he played violin, and we had a guitar player, and I enlisted a much older guy that I knew to come play drums for us at the high school. It was pretty hilarious at the time.
What was that band name?
Nevermore.
Was it Nevermore?
Yeah, Nevermore.
I think it was
something after Poe or something.
Right.
Like that.
Yeah.
I don't know. This is like high school band names always make me laugh. Like there's
it was pretty awful. We played some benefit.
Yeah.
Like I said, like I was in a different group at the time with some older guys, and I was like, "Hey, come play drums in my benefit high school." And he did it, and it was
It was
fun.
good. It was fun.
nice, man. Why no violin? Or do you play any violin on these tracks?
I still play it. I just I don't want to say the rigidity of like classical music or anything like that, because I did enjoy it, and it really is a good field of training if you just want to play rock violin later or whatever, alt country violin later, right?
I still push him to play violin. Shane.
I was gonna because
I love playing.
He does it begrudgingly sometimes.
Because that's like the biggest like. I feel like I'm pretty heavily involved in our St. Louis music scene, obviously, and that's like one of the most like coveted things, because like anybody that's like good at it is probably in about 4 or 5 bands, because but I also think of, like you mentioned, like kind of a rock violin. I think there's a group Hurt that Jay Lauren, their singer, and he throws some violin in there and stuff, and it's like I don't know, just real pretty, and but then he also can great songwriting, and but just like it's just cool, man. Like it's just fun to something different. You don't see a ton of it, especially outside of like classical orchestra and different different things like that. Like to see it in a small club and with a loud rock and roll band or something. So
we were talking about it not too long ago. You were talking about getting an electric violin.
Yeah. I enjoy playing it with other people. Someone on guitars, acoustic guitars, and singing, and I love complimenting other singer-songwriters with it. But it's not something I want to sit alone in a room anymore and play. Like it's just not. It's, and I love violin, but it's.
That's especially like kind of the boom. Like these, we got some pretty good honky tonkin kind of bands around town and stuff. So like that's seems to be what a lot of those guys are playing. That's getting some crazy on some of those strings and stuff, and so it's a lot of fun to watch. So, so you guys, what was that, like 2003, 4, something like that? Whatever.
Yeah,
when
probably.
things got going?
There,
Yeah.
And then, so that's kind of the thing too. Like I don't know. I was kind of telling you guys off mic. I kind of came into St. Louis music through Pops at Sauget and the rock, like modern rock and alternative scene and stuff. And that's kind of where my first love was. I started with guys that I went to school with and started following them out. And,
Yeah.
And but it was like I don't know. I always say like it was kind of interesting because like I thought when I started doing my show or started doing the podcast, even that I thought like I kind of had a pretty good idea of what St. Louis music, and then I was like quickly realized, man, I didn't know anything. Like there was so many great bands that
So many different genres.
right.
You know?
But and like St. Louis is obviously very spread out, like people all over the county and Metro East and whatever, just like all over they call St. Louis home and play here. And so like I started realizing there's several little pockets of, community that playing in different parts of town. And they're, but so going down to like off Broadway and Broadway Oyster Bar and stuff, I started to spend a lot more time downtown and meeting all sorts of other great bands. And so it's been fun just learning and discovering so much doing this show. But anyway, like it's still cool, all these years later, can still doing it. Like I was saying earlier, like it's just fun to keep meeting more people and doing it.
Did you ever get to go? Did you ever go to Cicero's or?
Yeah, oh yeah. R.I.P. to Cicero's. That's kind of what I was getting at. Was like you guys.
Cicero's is gone.
You guys seen it change quite a bit over the years, and like. So what would take me back to 2004? Like what was it like for you guys?
We mentioned Off Broadway, which is still such a wonderful staple in St. Louis. Played there a lot, but have to not just give a shout out, but even stronger than that to Fred Friction's music club on Chippewa.
Music Lounge, wasn't it?
Music Lounge.
Music Lounge, yeah.
That was such a special place. I mean, there's no you can't recreate that. It was.
Are you familiar with that place?
No, I mean, like I said, I know Fred a little bit, just more through stories. I haven't properly met the man myself, but
he's a brilliant songwriter. His older band, the Highway Matrons, are just one. I think one of the most terrific groups around that were around, and period. And his music lounge on Chippewa was just a home base for us.
Yeah,
really.
I mean, it was literally in a house. It felt like you were playing at your house. That's how comfortable it felt. You're just there. It's very small, very intimate, but mostly. A lot of rock bands. We were, playing rock and roll, so it was loud. Yeah. So there was no escaping it when you were in there. You heard the band.
Yeah.
Small stage. I don't even think we mic'd the drums.
Nope.
You just set up and play. The green room where you could hang out and break your drums down was like his living room. It was just a really cool. Just made you feel at home. Yeah. He is such a gracious host.
Yeah.
And a big supporter of us. And what a cool place that was.
That it was just astonishing. And all the underwear stapled to the ceiling.
Right.
All that aside, all the.
You go out back. It's just the backyard.
Wonderful.
You're literally in a house, and I'm gonna mess this up. Like, his dad started that place.
Fred Badger.
As a place for him and his friends to drink. And then it just evolved into what his son did to it and took it over and made it Frederick's Music Lounge.
Yeah.
It was an awesome place.
Yeah, we saw a lot of great acts coming up there too.
Yeah.
Like Alcohol Stunt Band.
Band.
Two Cow Garage.
Yeah.
Just too many to list even, but just wonderful acts coming through. Milton Mapes played there, and it was such a special place. But yeah.
And then like we talked about Off Broadway, we did Cicero's.
Mm-hmm.
We did Mississippi Nights before that closed.
Yeah,
Another great venue. I mean, I grew up
great,
going to that venue.
Yeah.
I saw my first show there, like, back in high school. Went and saw the Dead Milkmen.
That's cool.
And then many other shows at Mississippi Nights. I mean,
Yeah.
I was really bummed when that place went.
Way out.
Way Out Club just shut down. We played a lot of shows there.
It's really fun.
There was another place down near Mississippi Nights. Even it closed way before, called Bernard's Pub. I know people out there will remember that one. That was a interesting place to play. A little rough. You know, you never knew what you were going to get there, but a lot of fun.
Did the Urge play there? Is that
I
possible?
think the Urge played there, yeah.
A bunch of times. Yeah. I'm just trying to remember Bernard's. That's what I'm thinking.
That was like the stories I always hear. Like, you know, I'm obviously now become real good friends with all those guys of the Urge, and you know, but people, other fans, friends of mine, I hear all these stories about, especially Mississippi Nights and stuff like that. Like you're saying, like, and because I got into the music, but I didn't really got kind of late into going out to shows. Like it was, again, I didn't really have that person taking me to stuff when I was younger. So like I didn't, my first show I went to, I asked my mom to take me to, was 97 to see Matchbox 20 at the Scott Trade or Enterprise, whatever, you know, I guess it's Enterprise now, right? Still,
Yeah, I
or,
think so.
I don't know, whatever they want to call it.
The Mega Dome.
Yeah, right. And
It's like Riverport Amphitheater. It's always
yeah,
Riverport.
sure.
No matter what, no matter what name it is now. And I'm like, where are you going? Riverport.
But other than that, like it wasn't until like really like after high school, like, you know, I was telling you, my friends started playing. That's when I first started really going out to more of my shows. So I missed a lot of the Urge shows until they reunited and started doing the pageant shows and stuff. So it was fun to finally get to start going to those. And I saw, you know, of course, like Gravity Kills on those shows too, and all these great, you know, bands that I used to listen to and just never saw live. So it's fun that these, you know, even going into what you guys are doing, having this reunion show in a sense. And so, you know, it's great that these bands kind of go on a hiatus for a minute or whatever, and then they come back and like they, you know, doing these great shows. So it's fun seeing that they still love to hang out with each other and play music and stuff. And but
I just wanted to say about the Urge, I got to see them, you know, when I think I went with my friend John when I was probably like just right out of grade school, maybe right in high school, something like that. And their show was so wonderful and terrifying and exhilarating. But I remember there was the terrifying aspect of it, you know, people floating around and moshing and all of that.
Yeah.
But it was
especially
a nice
like
thing.
Straight to Hell or something like that. Like, you know,
It was really fun. Really fun. So.
Steve's been obviously a big part and a super supportive friend of this show. And actually the first like experience for me, like booking a show and anything like that, I wanted to do like a birthday party for the show to celebrate 1 year. And Steve had been doing like these acoustic brunch shows on every now and then at Steve's Hot Dogs. And he would, so I was like, man, that's kind of cool that, you know, something. I was like, what if I do that? And like I said, so I hit up Steve and I said, hey, would you be into this? Like if I allow me to book one of these acoustic brunch Sundays, and like, and he's like, let's do it. And I brought in like 6 friends of the show, and it was an incredible day. And I'm working on the lineup and everything. And Steve goes, I'll play. I'm like, okay, you know, like the very first show I put together, and Steve Ewing's playing. He had Adam play acoustic guitar with him, and they did a bunch of Urge tunes and some covers.
That's
and
great.
I was just like, you know, nerding out the whole time. I was like, this is crazy. Like, so obviously he's a great guy and a super fan of the St. Louis, and he's, you know, doing all he can to support what local business and local music and everything, and trying to. So I'm a big fan of his too. But
yeah, he just played not long ago out at the winery I work at, Mount Pleasant.
He's a hustler. He's all over. He played. I mean, I don't know how he does it, but he's a great dad too. He's always taking his kid to soccer games and stuff, and then he's running the business and playing gigs. And I'm just like, I don't know, and he's like training for these workout muscle competitions and stuff.
Yeah.
The guy's in incredible shape, and so I don't.
Just like us. Cheers.
Let's talk about some of your guys' music, because we did do some great live acoustic songs, and I love this kind of stuff. Just again, not that you guys, the records aren't super different than this, but it's fun to just kind of strip it down to the guitars and vocals and really dive into those lyrics and stuff. So this was a lot of fun for me. But let's, I guess we'll start with the first one. We did a song called Marriage, right? Mm-hmm. Anything come to mind around this particular song, guys?
I mean, when we were working on it, and it actually started as an acoustic song like most of them do. I mean, it's just the old story. You're in a bad relationship, and so you write a song about it, or at least something that's kind of directed by it, the feelings you have inside. And, that's about all I can say about it. And it's also a kind of a dig at the wedding band industry, shall we say.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. It's
Ain't gonna get that diamond out of me. Mama, I just wish you'd let me be. Bank account was maxed out and so's my heart. Only thing that won't let you down was all I hear out. You've been running around with someone else. I hear out. You've been running around with someone else. Ain't gonna get that diamond out of me. Mama, I just wish you'd let me be. Bank account was maxed out and so was my heart. Only thing that won't let you down is out. I hear loud. You've been running around with someone else. I hear out. You've been running around with someone else. Every kiss begins with K. Every kiss begins with K. Every kiss begins with K. K's a bore anyway. I hear out.
feel like that's, obviously, I don't know. Songwriting's always like been a big thing that I'm like super into. Like I love. Again, I was telling you, I love doing. I used to do a songwriter showcase and all this stuff, just because like I'm a big fan of this whole thing. But and I love the stories that go into them, and it's like. But like it was just for me. I always wanted to do that. Like that's something I was like, man, it'd be cool to like start writing my own stuff. And I don't know, for whatever reason, I don't have it. I mean, I'm sure if I worked at, I could probably do something, but like I just never had that natural knack. Like something's, I need to write this, put down pen to paper and try to do this. Because every time I do and ever think about something, it's always like everybody else's lyrics start pouring out of my head. But
Sure.
So it's difficult for me to like shut that off and really channel my own feelings. And but I feel like that's the biggest one. Like is those moments where it's super heightened. Either falling in love or falling out of love, and like those are the ones that are gonna channel the best song and stuff. You have that where there's so much raw emotion into it and stuff. So
is back to Fred Friction. A young songwriter asked him once. He said, the young songwriter said, "I can't ever decide what lyrics to write down, what to keep, what to throw out." And Fred just kind of quickly said, thoughtfully but quickly said, write what you can't forget about, in whatever form that takes, right? So it's not a guarantee that you always do something great, but at least you're trying to not forget about it. Right?
Yeah. I feel like that's, also a great example is like these songs. I mean, some live longer than others, but those, I feel like there's a great way to like capture that moment and that memory, and put it into a nice little melody and those lyrics and stuff. So
yeah, I feel like you gotta. I mean, like Ray, like playing with him for as long as I have, like I'm usually behind the drums. I'm playing the drums, but him and I hanging out. I play acoustic with him, and we do it that way. But like watching him write songs or being part of him showing songs has like helped me to write songs. And help push me and his encouragement has helped push me to write songs. Because I'm, like you, I didn't think I could do it, and I was always behind the drums or I was playing bass and just being a supporting player. But, just seeing other people do it and getting a little inspiration and you got to do it, I think,
Right.
You have to work at it. At least, I had to work at it. It just doesn't come like that all the time. Like it does take work.
Yeah.
It's fun work most of the time.
yeah,
I don't know. You've talked about it, like even a certain guitar
Has songs.
has songs in it. Like, he's had
1,000 guitars. Huh?
24 guitars, the time I've known him,
yeah,
and just like he's like, well, a new guitar gives me a new outlet to write new songs, So for some people, it's like that, like.
right.
But I believe that you have to put in the work. You have to sit down and do it.
Yeah.
You can't wait for inspiration.
No.
And you have to find your
You
own
have to
inspiration.
make it in a way. It's almost like out of habit. It'll keep regifting itself, or it'll fall flat on its face. But at least
But you got to keep trying.
Keep trying.
Yeah.
That way, when the inspiration does come, you're ready.
You're ready. Yeah.
Was this was songwriting? Was that always there early on, like in high school and stuff, or was that something that you started getting into later?
I thought about it a lot.
Yeah.
I thought about it a lot, but it wasn't until, like Adam was saying earlier, like when I got back and we were down at the riverfront here in Washington when I got back from college, that I had quietly worked on a few songs in my dorm room. And
he was still
with him.
He was quiet about it even when that story I was talking about on the riverfront. Like it was like, hey, I wrote this song, kind of thing. He was shy about it. He always had great melody within his violin playing, but he had never like wrote songs back then. And I don't know, maybe it took a little bit more experience or whatever, life experience and
and
things. yeah, when I heard him start playing some of the songs that we still play today, I was like, wow, he's really got, you know, this thing going on, this understanding of, I don't know what, but, you know, great melody and songwriting, you know. I was pretty blown away.
For sure. So what was, so you guys, we did, like I said, a lot of the songs you can hear on the 3 records I mentioned. We do have those out there readily available wherever you're getting your digital music at. But like, so, you know, we recorded a couple of records. It seemed like a 6-year gap between 2 and 3 or something like that, right? And then 2012?
Between the records?
The release.
Yeah.
The release of it.
Yeah, it was probably more the release. Like,
Right.
We did the first 2 pretty quick together, and then the other one took a little bit longer. That's we were playing a lot of shows.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, that was, so what was like in that time period, like what do you guys consider like maybe the height of Miles of Wire and stuff? Like what was
I don't know. I mean, we played the pageant a few times.
Yeah.
We went up to Indianapolis and played the Midwest Music Summit. Oh wait, the highlight, we got to go down to Sun Studios and play.
Nice.
Yeah.
That was wonderful. I don't even remember exactly how that came about. I just remember Sean was like, hey, we just got invited to go down and play at Sun Studios.
Yeah.
Okay.
For the weekend. And we went down there and we had a blast. You know, and it's just crazy. Like, you're in this room and it's just dead. Like, that room is dead. Like, you hit the cymbals and they just die. And like my drums are right where like Elvis's drums are,
Right.
you know, and Ray's standing on the X where Elvis sang,
Johnny
you know,
Cash.
Sure.
And then all these pictures are around you of all these legends, you know, Johnny Cash, and Carl Perkins, and Elvis Presley. I mean, I'm forgetting everybody else, but and it was great. We got to play in there and record 2 songs, and we had a blast.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah.
I think, not to be sentimental or anything, I think that is a wonderful moment, was a wonderful moment.
Yeah.
But every time I get to play with Adam, Randall, and Sean, like, even when it's, you know, we were talking about inspiration, having to wait for it and work for it, and when it's there, it's ready. You know, pretty much every time I've gotten to play, which is a lot of years with them, I feel like the inspiration's ready and I'm ready for it. And so, not to put too fine a point on it, I just think the act of playing music is the height of the music. Like, whether there's 30 people or wherever it is. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, we played, you know, like a month ago for the first time in, I think, 10 years. I mean, I don't know the exact date or whatever, you know, that all 4 of us were in the same room. And it was just like, you know, a little bit awkward at first. But then we plugged in and then we just said, what do you want to do? Let's do this song. And we did that song. And then we did another song. And, you know, it's like riding a bike or whatever, you know. It just worked and felt good. And
Just feels so.
Yeah.
it was fun.
I was talking, buddy, the other day, and I'm a big Howard Stern fan. I listen to a lot of his show, and he's been running these repeats and for the summer, and played an interview with Ice-T, and he was talking about, like, I guess the body count. I just like gotten back together and was doing some festivals at the time with the recording, and but he was talking about that and how, like, you know, how good it felt and how, like, you go right back to the age you were when you guys, like, wrote these songs and stuff like that. And, like, and I always thought that, or like, and that's the same thing with the fans for hearing it. Like, it's like everybody goes back to being 18, 20 years old or whatever, you know, and, like, and it's just like, it's cool to hear like that. Like, I've often felt that and think about it. It was fun to hear Ice-T saying that it happens for him too.
For sure. Music, I mean, to me, is like, it's like it's a drug, you know, and sometimes it's the best drug, and sometimes it's the worst drug, you know, like I remember playing when I was a kid, you know, like, and things like started clicking, you know, I was playing bass and things started clicking, or like when you're playing guitar and your brain starts to make sense of those chords shapes and you can go between them instead of stopping and strumming and stopping and strumming. But then later on, you get with a few people and you're playing for the first time and it all connects. And you're like, holy shit. And you're super high, but you're not on any drugs.
Right.
Yeah. But you're really high and you're like, this is amazing.
Yeah.
You know, this is the greatest thing I've ever felt.
Yeah.
And it is the greatest thing you ever felt. And then after that, it sucks because you're like, now I got to get that again.
Yeah, I want to do that some more.
And now you're just chasing it the whole time, that drug of music,
Yeah.
And will you ever get the first time again? Probably not.
Right.
And will it be?
But you get real close.
Will it be witnessed too? Is the other
Yeah,
question.
yeah.
It's like it's almost like you have to. It's a secret you have to keep around that you're chasing all the time. Yeah. Like a drug, right?
Yeah.
It is. It is like a drug.
Well, let's pause for a second because
Batteries.
I just noticed my battery is about to die. Well, you guys mentioned getting back together and playing a month ago or so, and we do have a big show coming back up here on August 28th, and you said this is like the first one in several years.
Yeah, like 10 years, I think.
Yeah. So let's talk about this night again. This will be happening August 28th, and I don't know. I'm sure I'll say this wrong, but was it Hettenhausen Center for the Arts? Is that right? Or,
Yeah, I think so. I think the nickname of it is the Het.
Oh, the Hettenhausen.
Yeah.
See, I told you I was gonna mess it up. I'm not good at this whole,
Yeah.
talking stuff.
Well, I've just seen pictures of it.
Yeah.
It is a beautiful theater, beautiful large theater, and it's on the campus of a college in Lebanon, Illinois, and we're just super excited to be playing. I know I am. So,
Yeah, it's going to be a good time.
Yeah. So what's kind of take me back to like this whole idea, like bringing the band back together, like and putting this night together. Like what was that decision entail?
It kind of came out of the blue. Like, it was a few months ago. Like, we got a message from Sean saying somebody offered us a gig. And it was like, are you sure they want us? Like, are you sure they got the right band?
Yeah.
Because we haven't played in like 10 years.
Yeah.
And he was like, no, they reached out to us and want us to play at the Het. And it was like all through text message. And I was instantly like, yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
And everybody was kind of instantly like, yeah, let's do it. And then it was like, well, when do we get together? How do we get together?
Mm-hmm.
And we're in the middle of a pandemic. And are you vaccinated? Is everybody vaccinated? What are we doing?
Yeah.
I don't want to harp on all that, but so we finally figured it out and started rehearsing here at Ray's house down in the basement, and had a few rehearsals. Gonna have, I think, one more, and then play the show, and it's gonna be a lot of fun.
Yeah. So tickets are available now, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so you can grab those and join us that evening. And that's so I don't know. Just like what was like the thing that like made us like stop though? Like why was the families and babies and
life.
stuff and life
Yeah,
and
it's
stuff?
just life getting in the way.
Yeah. 'Cause, I mean, that's a pretty big gap there, and like just to pick up and like.
It was just doing different things. Everybody kind of was doing their own thing, and
Right.
Sean and Randall are playing in other groups.
Sean and Randall playing in other groups. I've always played in one or two groups.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Did you guys, remain in contact throughout those years, or was it like?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, pretty much.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, Ray was living up on Cherokee.
Mm-hmm.
I would go up and see him, and then he moved back out here, and then it was just we'd get together and play all the time.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was nice that, like I said, we now we have a date on the calendar and stuff, and hopefully it's we'll add some more to the right.
Yeah, I certainly would hope so.
Yeah. I would like to. It'd be cool to make this more of a regular thing, and not every 12 years or whatever. Or 10, 10, 12
Yeah, right.
so.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. There's going to be a little hiatus.
Yeah.
This guy right here has got a little one coming
Right.
soon, so that'll be a little bit of a break. But
Yeah.
A little boy.
Yeah.
So.
That's super exciting, man. I'm real happy for you. That's
Thank you.
I've just went through my my brother's wife sister just had her first kid, and like it's just, and we're real close, all of us, and so it's just exciting to at times to be a part of that and everything. So
Yeah, it's an exciting thing.
Yep.
Frightening and exciting.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I think all part of it, like, though, is like, you know, if you think, 10 years ago, that means we were 10 years younger, so we were in a different headspace back then. We're definitely older, maybe a little wiser, maybe, I don't know.
What?
And we just kind of realized, like, we had a lot of fun doing this, like, let's put any kind of silliness and pettiness away and let's just have fun again, like, let's not take it too serious and let's just play some rock and roll and have fun.
Yeah, it's been really nice.
'Cause that's what it's really all about anyway. It's just having fun.
Yeah. I went to years ago.
Yeah.
Went to a show at the Point was putting on a Wayback Point Fest, bringing a bunch of these '90s and 2000s acts and stuff out. And I remember Eve Six was there, and I don't know if you guys remember them, but they had a couple of big radio hits, but I do recall now I think he's kind of started getting some attention for some other things on Twitter and stuff. Some of his rants and views on social media and stuff. But made me laugh real hard because when they came out and played, the lead singer's like, "This song might sound like it was written by an 18-year-old because it was," and like something like like it was just like that whole idea, like or even in a much greater sense. A guy like Paul McCartney, who's still out there doing it and still singing, or Mick Jagger, they're singing these songs that they wrote when they were, kids and stuff, and still 60 years later singing these songs and stuff. And but that's the only thing that's what I was kind of alluding to was like, is it, do you still resonate with these lyrics, or have they changed, or do they have different meaning now today than they did then, or?
Is it, Adam, you said maybe we're a little wiser. There are a few songs I'll just speak for myself on this one that don't resonate with me, and that were part of a moment and like almost just an urgency to get it out of your system. But there are a lot I've really come to love even more. So it's kind of a balancing act. It's kind of a trade-off.
Yeah. I always find that, like, as a fan, again, I'm listening to the music, and I always find it interesting that sometimes a song I've heard 100 times, and I'm like, oh, it's a good song or whatever. And then all of a sudden, like, something in my personal life happens or whatever, and I finally have that moment where it's like I hear it all over again, and I'm like, damn, man, it just floors me, and I'm just like,
and a whole new light.
Yeah, and it's like it really just resonates for me, and like I'm like, this is now I get it. Now he's telling my story, or however it is, and it's like, so it's always an interesting thing with songs. It's like how they can the same words all of a sudden it has a whole new meaning to it all and stuff. So.
That's right.
Well, it meanings I think for words just in general, or like songs, like I'm behind the drums listening to the lyrics that Ray has written, and on like one funny instance, I thought he was saying something completely different, like a totally different word, and I remember telling him, I was like, why do you keep saying this? And he was like, I'm not saying that. I was saying a different word, but then you were like, that's kind of good though. And then we'd play like shows, and then like sometimes I think he would throw it in there just to mess with me. Because he would look back and kind of smile sometimes when he'd sing this lyric.
Yeah.
But the lyrics being behind the drums are like a different meaning to me than they are to him who wrote it. Like, and that's the beautiful thing about it. Like, I don't like songwriters to tell you exactly what the whole song's about.
Right.
Because that kind of takes away from what it could be, to everybody.
Yeah, I often ask the question, like, and I don't necessarily ask so you tell me the whole story, like this is, but I also like sometimes there's interesting stories around song, like we were writing a song here or whatever, and I think about, again, going back to Stern's show, I heard Neil Young tell this crazy story about like he was in some kind of crazy fever and requested a notepad. And out of that, like he wrote like Cinnamon Girl and all the
Nice.
and like he was like out of his mind, delusional because of his fever and everything, and like didn't know what he was writing. He just scribbling, and then like out of that, he like deciphered, like put together what became these songs and stuff like, which I find it fast. I mean, I don't know. It's a great story. I don't know if it's like how accurate and true, but it's just like, but still, it's like it's a fun story to hear when you're thinking about those songs and stuff. So
Yeah, definitely.
Again, sometimes I paint in my own picture, in my own mind, and I'm like, and this is, I like what I've created, better than you were telling me exactly
Or
why.
participating
Yeah.
with
Like,
the song.
well, just as like as somebody who's writing the song, like you said earlier, like does playing these songs bring you back to how it was when you were playing them before, like your emotions when you were playing them before? That's the same thing to the listener. The listener can hear a song at a certain time in their life, and it can always bring them back to that period of time when they first heard that song, just the same way as it can bring the songwriter back to when he wrote it as well. It's two different worlds right there.
Yeah. I think sometimes I feel like, again, for those songwriters that put their heart into all these songs, sometimes it can be like picking a scab. It's like, yep, that still hurts. It's like if it was, about a relationship or whatever it might be and stuff. So
I think Randall, Adam, Sean, y'all, not that it's just, they're such fine musicians. They're such excellent musicians that also feeds into how I feel about the lyrics in the end. Like how it's all comes together and is shaped as a song in totality.
Right.
And it's funny, I've joked about it, but I've often said I'm the weakest link in Miles and Wire, because but that's just a compliment to all of them.
Sure,
They're just fantastic musicians. You couldn't ask for better friends.
Yeah, man, absolutely.
Better musicians. So.
Yeah.
But we wouldn't all be there without all of us.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I get it. I have to show up, right? I get to show up.
Let's talk about a song called "Bitter Gods," and that you guys again. This is you two with two acoustic guitars and.
Get up real early and go get my truck, and then down to the station. The sun's coming up like a bitter god. You know he loves you. Once in the cab, light up my smoke and I cough out a prayer, quiet and cold to this bitter God. You know he loves you, and it takes all his time just hanging around. Just hanging around, just hanging around, just hanging around. I drive down burnt roads with a song in my lungs, and then pleasure movie shirt like a man with a gun who kills bitter gods. You know he loves you, and it takes all his time, just hanging around, just hanging around, just hanging around, just hanging around. Well, the sweetest thing that I've ever heard was my mama's voice, but she's gone away.
This was, I think this is the first time I heard this one, and this really, I resonated, again, connecting to lyrics and stuff. This, especially the last line there you throw out on the song, and pretty heavy for me because I went through this pretty recently. I lost my mother in 2019, and so like there's it's still a sensitive thing for me. Sure. Obviously, like just she was we had a lot of fun together, going out to a lot of shows and stuff. So like it was tough, and it was also like very she was diagnosed brain cancer in June and gone in December. So it was really a brutal process of dealing with that with her. And so when you say
you caught that line at the end.
Yeah, you said the sweetest sound was my mother's voice, and that she's no longer here, right, or something along those lines. And so that got me. So
if memories serves me right, like when I go back to that story down at the riverfront, that was one of the songs that Ray played. So that's how old that song is.
Oh yeah,
like that's 2002 maybe or something, and I don't even know when you actually wrote that. Yeah. But I remember hearing it back then. So like
it was fresh then. But
yeah, like Ray and I have been playing that song for that long. Like we've never recorded it. I mean, I think we've recorded versions of it, but we never put it out.
Right. Okay.
So like him and I have been playing that song for that long, and like going back to that story, like I heard that song and I was like, wow, that's a hell of a song, that's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, that's cool to hear that you has never really been properly recorded too, like so for the record and stuff. So
we did it for you, Shane.
yeah, thank you for that.
Yeah, it's kind of a preparing. I mean, in a way, we have to prepare not only for our own, but for those around us. They're going somewhere, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, however you feel about that, in any sense, it's the case, right? So. The song is really just preparing myself and anybody who participates with it to be prepared for what's coming for yourself and others. And it's one of the things I actually teach and tutor at East Central College there in Union, and sometimes when I'm talking to my students, they'll say a certain passage is sad, and I'll say, yeah, but it's sad, sure, but it's got some oomph behind it because of the language, and I'll compare it to like a distortion pedal or a good picking pattern or something that supports the song. So even if a song or a passage is sad, it's got to have something to prop it up, right? So,
right.
But anyway, Bitter Gods is just kind of a meditation and a preparation for what's coming.
Yeah,
it's pretty stoical about it.
I mean, what we're all going to go through.
Yeah,
for sure. Yeah. It's definitely the circle of life, man. So, I don't know, just that, especially that stood out to me, but I appreciate you sharing that with us today, man.
Thank you.
Great. Let's talk about another one too. This is just Ray solo acoustic on this one, and a song called Paper Moon that you guys did.
was trying to see if this typewriter works. Gift from you to me. Watch out for the rusted seat that sticks and stays like lethargy come winter, babe. I love again soon. Gonna type you a letter on the bright side of the paper moon. I love again soon. Gonna type you a letter on the bright side of the paper moon. Doesn't need a ribbon until the spring. She was the mother of everything that'd been abandoned. She feels she's been abandoned. Change the ribbon in your machine. Spring has come and now we're as clean as the grass over there. I love again, Sue. Gonna type you a letter on the bright side of the paper moon. I love again, Sue. Gonna type you a letter on the bright side of the paper moon. Hey there, you, I was trying to tell if this was heaven or if this was hell by the ink on my arms. I was trying to see if this typewriter works. Gift from you to me. I love again, Sue. Gonna type you a letter on the bright side of the paper moon. I love again, Sue. Gonna type you a letter on the bright side of the paper moon.
Another great tune, man. So what? I was like,
We haven't recorded this one yet
You
either.
haven't recorded either?
Not as a band, no.
No.
Right. Is this one you do a lot though, or
We played it a lot.
Yeah, we
as
played
a
it
choir,
at shows.
Right.
We never recorded it. I don't know why. We just never did.
yeah?
And
But it's a great song.
yeah, we called him Super Fan Dan, but Dan Flynn gave me a typewriter many years ago, obviously, and the lyrics are about the typewriter, of course, and it was actually just a dedicatory language piece to Dan Flynn. So if Dan Flynn's out there.
Yeah. Shout out
Thanks,
to
man.
Dan.
Shout out to Dan, super fan Dan.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I mean, just a great guy that started coming to our shows, and was always coming to the shows.
Yeah.
He is a great guy.
It's always fun when you get, you play a lot of shows and, your friends and family are always coming. And, you're like, well, of course they like it. I invited them, And then you meet somebody that you don't know and they're a big fan and you're like, wow, so that's cool.
Yeah.
We didn't have to invite that guy. So hence super fan Dan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And a kind soul.
Yeah.
You guys know Typewriter Tim at all?
We did a show with Type.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Nice, man.
Yeah. God,
Yeah.
What was that? At the tap room?
Yeah.
I think, at the tap room.
He's one of my favorite characters
Yeah.
around town. And he's become a good friend over the years. And then I lost my pup a couple weeks back or months ago, I guess, in April, and he made a nice glass orb with her cremains, and
that's cool.
He's got a lot of different skills. He's you know, and glass is one of those, and but he's also made me other pieces that include typewriter parts, and that's what when I'm hearing typewriter, that's what. Yeah. Of course, he's the first one to come to mind, and he's an interesting guy and a lot of fun to hang with him. He's done the show twice, and I think on both of them, like combined, probably said about 10 words. He's one of those guys I can just press record and let him go. He goes and shares all his stories, and so he's great though.
Nice.
I really like this. So I don't know. I just think got me thinking that you guys saying these haven't been recorded. We should probably do that. I think that would be cool to get some a new Miles of Wire, some record out there.
Yeah, I mean, I think, that's my plan. That's his plan.
Yeah.
I don't think it would take any. It just takes time.
Sure.
Yeah. You know, once we got in there, I don't think it would take any time.
Yeah.
It's just getting us all together and the right time, right place. You know.
I think our friend Adam commented on the post and promoting you guys were coming on the show, and he asked about vinyl. Is that something that's always been kind of?
Well, I was talking to him. I was talking to Adam about it. Shout out to Scrub, because he's been doing his thing, and he was giving me some tips on where to get vinyl and who to get it done by, and that's something we'd love to do. We'd love to take all of our previous records and put them on vinyl. It's just a little pricey.
Oh yeah. Right. Yeah, but I feel like it's still expensive either way, but I feel like there's definitely been a giant resurgence in vinyl records again now. So there's been, I think at one point there was like only like one or two factories or whatever that were still doing it. So that's why I think costs were so expensive, being that they're pressing and stuff. So like now there's been a lot more that, so I think costs have come down a little bit and stuff like but still it's it's pretty expensive, a lot more than just pressing a CD and stuff.
Right.
So, but
speaking of CD, we probably have a CD for you.
All right.
Do we have one here?
Yeah.
Oh, look.
Yeah.
In the basement.
Maybe I was wrong.
In the scary basement.
Yeah.
Where we practice.
We'll get you one eventually.
Yeah. One of those mentioned earlier. One of those shows they I'm sure you guys have too, kind of a similar thing, but they throw all this stuff out on the merch table, stuff that's been sitting around forever and down in somebody's basement and stuff. They like, here, take this stuff. We give it. So like, I had like a Too Much Stereo bumper sticker and stuff. Like the stuff. It's probably at the time probably 15 years old or whatever. Something like that. So it's just kind of funny to look back and have these things that have been sitting in a box somewhere in somebody's basement for many years. And
we got one of those.
Yeah,
we have.
I was actually like going through stuff in my basement. Like, long story short, like I had a fire like a year ago, and when we were clearing everything out, and I found a bunch of like Miles Wire stickers.
Yeah,
I was like, wow, look at these.
Sure.
Are these vintage now?
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
At
stickers.
eBay.
Yeah, sitting on a fortune, man.
Right.
But I would like that, man. I think that would be fun to hear these on vinyl and hearing remastered and everything else.
Yeah.
And,
You might get your wish.
Yeah, let's do that.
Hopefully we all do.
Yeah. Well, I've been so again, grab tickets and see the show on August 28th, and throw a couple bucks to help to support these guys, and maybe we'll get those records even sooner than
right.
So,
right.
yeah.
I just want to say happy birthday to Sean T. Bell.
Yeah,
it's his birthday today.
Sean.
Oh, nice. Happy birthday, Sean.
I like to rock.
So I've been going around asking some questions, and I just get your guys' take on some of these. What would be a dream duet for the group? Like, who is somebody or collaboration that is there anybody else out there that you'd like think about? Like, it'd be cool to work with them or have them come sing on a song or something.
Anybody ever?
Sure, yeah, it's a dream.
I don't know.
I don't know either.
Like producer or something, like I don't know.
I mean, it's kind of getting to the question, what bands do you like?
Sure.
And like, I don't know. I back up Jason Molina,
Yeah.
rest in peace, but back him up on
Yeah.
anything. And there's just too many to
Oh yeah,
list,
yeah.
right?
It's an
But
impossible
that's what
question.
springs to mind.
Yeah, it's an impossible question, but it's. I often think about too, like, a lot of people think of like a singer or guitar player or something. Think whatever comes to mind like that. But like, I also think somebody, an engineer behind the board, working with somebody.
Yeah. I mean, Rick Rubin. That'd
Yeah,
be cool.
I mean,
Sure.
yeah, for sure. Like,
Hang out at Shangri-La and
like,
let him do his voodoo.
I think-
over Rick.
yeah, yeah.
Neil Young.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, it's
Can't beat
endless.
that guy.
I just think, it'd be fun to have somebody like that just give it a little bit of direction to give
Yeah.
you that kind of, something to put their flavor on it a little bit and help push you guys and create something great, like, whatever. Just
Yeah.
It is different because everybody's got their own thing, like I'll go back to like when we went down to Sun Studio, we worked with a guy down there, the producer down there. He was a little bit more guitar driven.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And so we recorded 2 songs there, and then we came back to St. Louis and went to Smithley Studio in Maplewood, and we recorded with
Jack Petrocic.
Jack, and he's a drummer. So it was interesting to like listen to
Right.
versions of the two songs that we did, and hear like this was his take on it, and this was his take on it. I mean, the songs were pretty similar, but you had a little bit more guitar heavy guy and a little bit more drum heavy guy. So
Right.
it's always different to hear everybody's interpretation
Yeah.
of something like that.
Yeah. What about this is just kind of another fun one to think about and stuff, but if the day comes along we have a Miles of Wire action figure box set, what would be 3 accessories that you guys would have with your action figures?
Underwear, beer, and a Bible.
That's all you
You
need.
gotta have kung fu grip.
Yeah. All right.
And a flamethrower. The zombie apocalypse. A Miles of Wire action figure.
Yeah.
I would think other than playing guitar and singing and playing drums and bass, etc., it wouldn't be too active. I don't know. That's just a hunch.
Yeah.
The pick.
Yeah, it's just a pick in the box. That's your action figure. You have to move it.
Right. That I don't know, for saying the pick, I was just thinking that silly Tenacious D movie, The Pick of Destiny.
Oh, yeah.
Right. So, all right, what about is there thinking this is just fun one trip, what would be like a movie or a TV show you wish you were in? Is there any kind of like certain world or anything that you guys think like it could be fun to be a part of that and like
I'm watching The Sopranos,
yeah.
but I don't want to be part of that world. But I wouldn't mind. It's a wonderful show to watch. Do you want to be a part of it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not necessarily.
Sure. I think, I talk about it a lot of times, like a show like Breaking Bad or something like, yeah, they're great shows, but it's like, do I want to be in that? Do I don't Game of Thrones or whatever? Do I want to live in that world? I don't know about that. Like, it's a pretty,
Well, it's funny that you mentioned The Sopranos and we go to Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
Like, The Sopranos is kind of like the start of like when the hero is this anti-hero, like, and you're rooting for this guy that's an awful guy.
yeah.
He's a psychopath, but you're like rooting for him.
Really rooting for it.
And that's the same way with Breaking Bad and a lot of the shows that are out now. Like, these heroes aren't that good at people,
Sure.
but you're still rooting for them
Yeah.
They're complicated.
because that's kind of how heroes are. Not everybody's perfect.
Yeah.
Except you.
Hardly.
All right. Both for you guys both answer this also. What all right, you're at the concert and the band calls you up on the stage and like asks you to sing for the song for the night. What's the band and what's the song you would like to front the band for the night for a song? Is there any
could if both of us, the question is posed to both of us.
Yeah, well, I mean,
what band could we sing?
Sure.
I couldn't do it. But I'd get on stage with like Bad Brains.
Yeah.
I couldn't sing like HR.
Sure.
But that like was a big influence when I was growing up, like early on, like being like 12 and 13, like seeing the Bad Brains, like just going, oh my, look at those guys.
Yeah.
Right? You know.
Yeah. I'll have to piggyback off Adam with the SST records. It would be being able to sing "Girl Who Lives on Heaven Hill" by Husker Du.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just
good.
and New Day Rising it's not just a punk
go back
record.
into our influences.
Yeah, it's just exactly.
Like,
Yeah.
I'd love to get up and play like anything with Fugazi. You know.
Yeah.
Another big inspiration, another big band growing up.
Yeah. You guys are pretty into the more punks.
It runs
Like
deep.
growing up,
Yeah.
Like, I mean, influences are all over the place. But
Yeah.
being younger, a younger skateboarder, like hardcore music was right there, initially. Of course, you're younger and there's a lot of, I don't want to say, it's not angry, but there's a lot of emotion and a lot of
adrenaline.
You can relate to it,
Yeah.
because you got a lot of emotions, a lot of things going on. And so, definitely an influence, but I mean, the influences are all over the place too,
Yeah.
Like I said, with the show tunes, growing up with my dad, and classical music with my mom, and,
We're both Miles Davis freaks.
Miles
jazz
Davis,
freaks in general.
John Coltrane, you know, like, and I look back, like we talked before we started, like, like my older brother, Sean, big influence on me, having an older brother. He's not quite a bit older. He's almost 10 years older. So seeing him, I'll tell a funny story about him. Like, he probably won't like it, but so he was like in my basement. Him and the neighborhood kids were putting on a show with fake instruments. They had a real drum set, but they had like fake instruments. They had like a plywood cutout of a double neck guitar, and they were playing Rush.
There you go.
And it was amazing. All of us little neighborhood kids were watching them play Tom Sawyer. So I mean, there's an influence right there.
Yeah.
Pretty hilarious.
Also, my nephew Anthony, he's a frontman for The Death, a band out of St. Louis, and even though they're younger than, all of them are younger than we are, they're just a lovely group. And he gave me their most recent record, Missouri Moon, on vinyl, and it's a love. They've got the hooks, the chops, all that. It's just
I mean,
so
it's
it's
like,
hard to say what an
it's like a
influence
full
is.
circle
It's
thing,
everywhere.
like when we were playing, like we played a show at the pageant, and his nephew came with all of his friends and supported us. And then years later, they're in a band, so they were like, you guys were our influence, but yet, like, when I listen to them, I'm like, they're now an influence on us.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Even though we were influencing them to begin with, it totally went full
Circles
circle.
around. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's, I do a lot of that with music. It's like a lot of times, like, I'll start with somebody and they're doing their own thing. And then, so that's, it's some influence. And then not that I play, but just like it has an effect on me. And then like you find out, oh, they're, big on this band, and you start like discovering music kind of backwards, like people that came before them and stuff.
Yeah.
And so it's a fun way. We continue to keep making music fresh for everybody and stuff. Like it's it's always evolving, and people add their own twist on different things, even though it's like and of course mashing things together and stuff. It's different, whatever it is, and so it keeps it fun to continually discovering new stuff all the time. But
It's weird now to find music. I find music that I think is new, and it's like 2007.
yeah,
Or growing up, like we were listening to college radio, and like I was watching 120 Minutes on MTV, or MTV when they used to play videos.
Yeah, I heard they were like,
you know, like looking for college, you know, radio stations, like I said, or 88.1, and you were hearing new music. But now, like, it's so accessible and there's so much music.
Sure.
It's hard to keep up to date on everything.
yeah.
You know, to hear the newest thing. Like I said, I keep hearing stuff and I'm like, oh, that's awesome. And then I'm like, oh, that's from 2009.
Yeah.
I always wondered if
Still loving it, but
I always wondered if, speaking of what you're talking about, with there's so much music and saturation and all that, maybe it's a good thing, maybe it's not, who knows. But I always wondered if that line, "Everybody's Got to Be a Genius" by Kings of Leon, their first record, I was like, I always wondered if that was what that was about.
yeah, maybe.
Everybody got to be a genius.
Yeah.
It's just like, I don't know.
There's a great podcast. I don't know. I think why this popped up, but there's a great podcast I listen to a lot called The 500. Josh Adam Meyer and really I plugged it on here a bunch, but the gist of the show is that he had a buddy that was like super fan of music and was always telling him like listen to all these records and he never did. Like he's kind of always stuck in his own lane with like listening to what he liked and well, his friend passed, and this was like his tribute to his friend. And he's like finally going to listen back all these records that he talked about and stuff. So it's the Rolling Stones 500 greatest albums of all time. And he started at 500, and he's working his way up the list. And a lot of them were with comedians and his friends. But he also sometimes has great guests of like that were involved on the record. And I can't think of his name now, but the last Living Temptation. He got to talk to him about the Temptations anthology record. I talked to Billy Gibbons about Eliminator, and stuff like it's a great guest and stuff like that. But
Shane, ZZ Top's going to be in this town.
Yeah. Which R.I.P. Dusty Hill, man, that was a really bummer for sure.
Yeah.
I'm big. ZZ Top's big place in my heart. I mean, I grew up on those records with my dad and mom, and heavily influenced on that blues rock and stuff. So, but anyway, but like a guy like one of the records that stood out that I recently listened to, like for the first time, kind of talking about some of the 2007 and whatever, and it's like was like White Stripes and listening to Jack White and coming through like. I knew a couple of the hits that were on the radio and stuff, but I didn't really get it. And I'm like, and then like listening to that and like kind of rediscovering something 10 years old already, like, listening to these White Stripes records. I was like, damn, and there's something like, some of that stuff is really good that I didn't know. And, maybe you got
and they
deterred by a single that was like, I didn't really like that. And like, but then you realize the rest of the stuff on the records, there's some good stuff in there.
And they made me go back and listen to and re-listen to old blues,
sure,
and standards and like Sunhouse and stuff like that.
But
I mean
that's a nice thing.
There's always
it's so circular.
Always something like that. Like growing up, like you hear Pink Floyd and like all you hear about's The Wall.
Right.
The Wall. And The Wall is amazing. It's great.
Yeah.
But then you go back and delve into the early stuff and you're like, wow, this is amazing.
Yeah.
Metal.
This is completely different,
Yeah. That's fun though. I like I said, what keeps me doing this show still continuing to like discovering new tunes all the time. So even if it's new or old or whatever it is, that's it's just fun to keep expanding and stuff. So, But yeah, man, this was cool, super cool, guys. I'm really glad we did this tonight, man. Again, grab tickets, come on out and join us at the Het, you said? And then in Lebanon, Illinois on August 28th. And hopefully, you guys do have a Miles of Wire Facebook page for those that want to get involved there. And hopefully we'll have a lot more announcements soon. Keep fingers crossed we'll make that happen and continue this and not, like I said, not another 10 years later. So, but I would love to get out and come see you guys play. So I'm gonna try to make that happen on the 28th and come out and see you.
Right on.
So,
appreciate it.
Thank you, Shane.
But thank you guys, and I will talk to you all soon.
Thank you so much.
All right.
Bye, everybody.
Rock Paper Podcast. Rock Paper Podcast. Rock Paper Podcast. Rock Paper Podcast.
Well, yeah, that was it.